Hello, my friends and viewers, and welcome to another installment of Metalhead Central, the show where I take an honest look at the harder side of music and give it an honest ranking. I'm Caleb, and today we're going to be taking a look at melodic death metal legend Soilwork and their new album, and it's an album that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. The title is in Swedish, and I would completely butcher the pronunciation. It's out on Nuclear Blast Records, and before we get started, make sure smash that like button if you enjoyed this, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's try and get this channel up to 20 subscribers. I'm only at 9 right now. I'd like to get a few more than that. Again, a very small YouTube channel. You have to start somewhere, and I'd like to start with small steps. But every new subscriber is a new person who is hearing these, and I really enjoy doing them for all of you guys. And I hope you guys enjoy them too. But enough about that. Let's dig into this album. Over the past two releases, The Living Infinite and The Ride Majestic, Soilwork have really impressed me with their ability to balance the heavier side of metal and the more melodic side of metal. And this album is no exception. This is an album that I finished listening to, and I just wanted to put it on again, just out of sheer joy. This is a joyous album to listen to. This is a fun album to listen to. Last week, I described the Legion of the Damned album as being an enjoyable listen, and it was. But Soilwork have crafted an album that's so much more than just an enjoyable listen. It's a downright spectacular listen. Every song on here feels different, yet they all work together to create a very cohesive record. Now, some people might say that the more sing-along choruses lack a lot of creative energy and that they're not really, metal enough and whatever, but I say that's a load of nonsense. In my opinion, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and there's certainly very few things that are broken about this album. One of the things that's interesting for me here is the difference in the styles of drumming between what you would hear from Soilwork's old drummer Dirk Verberin and their new drummer Bastian Thursgaard. Dirk's style is just way more chaotic. He's all over the kit with whatever he's doing, and it fit the mold of songs that Soilwork put on albums like The Panic Broadcast and The Living Infinite, and even so far back as Sworn to a Great Divide and Stabbing the Drama. Bastian's first effort with the band on this album is very straightforward. It drives the song instead of becoming part of the chaos. For me, they're both excellent drummers, but Bastian's style, it does become a little humdrum towards the end of the album. I'd like to see him have a little more variety with what he's doing on the kit, but that's a very minor issue on an album that is full of songs that are sure to be played at Soilwork concerts for years to come. There are no bad songs here. I was so impressed with the singles off of this album. Arrival, Full Moon Shoals, Staphagel. Those three songs alone were enough to hype me up for this release. Soilwork, just the fact that it was a Soilwork album was enough to hype me up for this release. But hearing those three songs and hearing what the band was doing, it's just so much better than a lot of their old stuff back when they first started. The difference is night and day. They've matured so much as a band, and they're able to have that musicality to them while still remaining true to that melodic death metal, or as it's more commonly known, the Gothenburg sound. Soilwork have just crafted something that is brilliant. It is so much fun to listen to. You don't get bored on it. Every new chorus is something that's just like, wow, I want to hear that again. I want to hear it over and over and over again. There is one song on here, however, that kind of disappointed me with its lack of melody, and that was the song Bleeder to Spoiler. It wasn't a bad song. It wasn't at all. It's just, it could have been a little more balanced. Anybody that watches this channel knows I love dynamics in music. I love a lot of variety as far as like heaviness contrasted with melody. And this album, or this song, I should say, it didn't have a lot of that. It was still a pretty good song, but it was definitely the weakest cut on the album. But that's just my inner musician coming out and nitpicking the dynamics on a fantastic record, and I should really shut up and get to the next part of the review. This album is sure to go on my Album of the Year list at the end of 2019. This was just a wonderful journey through a lot of music that could honestly be compared to a bunch of different artists all across the rock and metal spectrum. There were a lot of guest vocalists on the album. Alyssa from Arch Enemy came in and did a brilliant job. Tommy Yautzen of Amorphous did a great job on his track. And again, I raved about Queen of Time last year, so it was really neat to see Tommy coming back out and cutting a new track with one of the greatest melodic death metal bands of all time in Soilwork. This album just had a lot to enjoy on it. It's sure to be a staple in any Soilwork fan's collection, and for me personally, I can't wait to get my hands on a physical copy. Listening to it on Spotify is one thing, but I am just so excited to get a physical copy of the CD that can ride around with me in the car, that I can just let it flow and let the album do its thing. I just can't wait. I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy of this. I'm giving it a very high 98 out of 100 on the YPS scale. Thank you so much for tuning in for this installment of Metalhead Central. Next week will be episode 8. And next week we're going to head into a little more brutal territory. So for someone who is very into dynamics, this is going to be an interesting album for me to hear. I'm going to be reviewing Malevolent Creation's new album, The 13th Beast. I've heard some really great stuff out of bands like this before, and I'm hoping that this will be no exception. So again, click like if you enjoyed this, subscribe if you haven't yet to see more of what we do here on Metalhead Central. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all next week.